a fall of 23 graduate, and I am incredibly excited to share my journey with you all. However, before I dive into my journey, I just want to take a moment to thank you truly, just for this gracious extension, for this opportunity to speak before you today. It truly is an honor. Thank you all. Today, I want to briefly discuss with you my academic career at Ames, including my major and interests, how I've been involved as a student, and what I'm doing now that I've graduated. So although my academic career at Ames has culminated with my recent graduation, as is common with many students, my degree plan did not begin the way it ended. When I started at Ames in the fall of 2021, much of the world, including Ames, was still riding the wave of COVID-19. I found this upheaval of the norm to be particularly nerve-wracking as I was a homeschooled student entering an instructor-taught classroom for the first time. However, those nerves were quickly quelled as my semester began. As I began my courses, I felt as though each and every individual that I encountered went well out of their way to help me succeed. The immediate compassion that was displayed by all those around me impacted me greatly. Whether that compassion was given by staying after class to answer my dozens of questions or helping me begin in a program that I was interested in, it never faltered. I remember quite vividly during my first semester, as I was taking public speaking, which quite ironically was one of my greatest fears at the time, my professor asked me to stay after class. After my classmates were released to leave, I stayed back and spoke with my professor, and she requested that I stay in touch with her as I continued my academic journey because she felt that I should apply to be the student commencement speaker when I graduated. As someone who was incredibly stage shy, the potential that she saw in me, combined with the belief that she had that I could achieve anything that I put my mind to, it profoundly impacted my life. Those words of encouragement continued even after I completed her course. Anytime my professor and I would run into one another on campus, she always made an effort to see how I was doing. Even now, she stuck with me past graduation. This genuine care for students has deeply impacted me, and without the investment that she made in me, I wouldn't be here today. These acts of genuine care for myself and other students did not end with my first semester, however. Although I was originally declared as a political science major, as my journey at Ames progressed, I took several mathematics courses. Those professors who taught these courses, once again, I think I lost the mic. Let's see. Hello? Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Does it sound? Okay, perfect. All right. So anyway, as I was saying, these genuine acts, these professors who taught these courses, once again, vastly influenced the direction of my life. I quickly found that I truly enjoyed mathematics and I had a natural knack for problem solving. And this self-discovery was largely due to my college algebra professor who went out of her way to invest in me, both as a student and as an individual. So like many of my peers, changed my major, I added mathematics to my political science pathway. And with this change, I gained direction. I decided to become a collegiate instructor at a community college, desiring to give as has been given to me. This desire was solidified after, as is common, a theme in my Ames journey. I met a few more professors who went out of their way to help me succeed. These professors introduced to me for the first time to economics. As I took both macro and microeconomics, I was absolutely blown away by how much I enjoyed the material. About halfway through the semester, I'd gotten to macro a little early, and I was sitting there and just chatting with my professor. I was discussing my degree plan with him, and he quite seriously asked me if he could share some of his observations about me. He then shared the potential that he saw in me and his observations regarding my leadership. He asked me to seriously consider economics as a potential major. That conversation and encouragement was the deciding factor that led to the major that I graduated with. And I'm so incredibly grateful that my professor saw me as a person and not just as a student and spoke so frankly with me that day. As my academic journey came to completion, the open conversations in combination with the many faculty, staff, and student interactions that I'd had ultimately led to me graduating debt-free with a degree that I absolutely love. And although all of this is imperative to my Ames academic story, there is so much more to my involvement as a student. So backtracking just a little, towards the end of my first semester, I began to seek out community at Ames. That's when I discovered that Ames has a club called InterVarsity, and I quickly became involved. This community of individuals who really cared about students absolutely flourished in the welcoming environment that Ames intentionally cultivates. By my second semester, I became the secretary of Ames University, and which that culminated in me becoming the president. And then my Ames University friends and other Ames friends, and I spent so many hours on campus studying, playing games. We went to concerts and amusement parks and developed a really safe community. Ultimately, we relied on one another as well through some, what at the time was very difficult loss and hardship. But in addition to my university involvement, I was also involved in Phi Theta Kappa, as Kelly mentioned, as well as in SLS. And the individuals that I met through the combination of these clubs ultimately became my best friends, eventual roommates, and one of them became my fiance. So without the welcoming environment that Ames intentionally seeks, I truly believe my time here would not have been the same. And I am continually grateful for the environment that has been cultivated. In fact, I've loved that environment so much that I eventually applied for a work study position on campus and was hired to work at the Pathway Advising Office. My job, like many of the other experiences I've had at Ames, has allowed me to develop skills that apply to all aspects of my life. I honestly love my job and this school so much that I requested to become a contingent worker so that I could stay on past my graduation. So that's what I'm doing now. My position has changed and I've moved into a new role with some new responsibilities, but I am excited to have the opportunity to stay a little longer at the school that I consider home. With my position change, I've learned that I'm also really interested in finance and business, but teaching continues to attract my attention. For this reason, I don't intend to stop here. In addition to the clubs and programs I mentioned briefly, as Kelly mentioned, I also joined the Ames to UNC program as a student. Beginning in the fall of this year, I intend to pursue my bachelor's and eventually my master's at UNC as well. I believe with these tools that I've accrued during my time at Ames, I'll be able to get the next couple of degrees that I love, also debt-free. And I hope to be able to give back as has been given to me. Altogether, I feel that my time at Ames has meant learning how to fail as well as how to succeed, being able to discover myself for the first time and knowing that in the end, helping others and the community around us is what really matters. Therefore, as I step into the next few chapters of my life, I will continue to look back at my time at Ames quite fondly. So I want to thank you all for the hard work and caring effort that I know is put in behind the scenes. I know I speak for myself, many other students, when I say that the impact that's been made on our lives is undeniable. So thank you.
What a great story. Thank you. Okay, we'll start on our representatives to the board. First up, we have Student Government Association, or SGA, Jared Polito.
Good afternoon, distinguished members of the board, cabinet members, Chair Schock, and Dr. Bornstein. I appreciate being able to share this time with you. I'm excited to report that spring semester is really off to a great start already. Student life really has been working on some great events ahead. First off, the student government teamed up with the campus activity programming board to do a Valentine's Day / town hall event. We had karaoke, crafts, donuts, mocktail, appletinis, pizza. The students had a great time. We had students singing, and it was really a fun time. During the event, we also gathered a lot of information about students' feedback on the open educational resources. We also handed out what we called bedside boxes. They had candy and sexual health resources. But with that, the spring semester is off to a great start, and we're really looking forward to more exciting events ahead. One big one that kind of kicked off for the Windsor campus was our CAP student leader arranged free haircuts for the students on the Windsor campus. 25 students had received the free haircuts, and we actually received an email from the EMS faculty. I just wanted to share that with you. It says, I just wanted to reach out and thank your students and your team for an outstanding haircut event. My afternoon students stated that the barbers stayed an extra 2 hours because they were so busy. We had multiple students who really needed and appreciated this service. It's a great resource for them, and your timing was perfect. Our students will be starting their rides at their services this weekend, so it was a really huge confidence booster for many. One student was especially grateful because they assisted him with trimming his hair and his beard to cover up his scalp tattoos. You were all amazing and much appreciated. But with that being said, that's just one of the examples of the student events and how much we could reach out to these students. I'm also proud to announce that the Artie's Recovery Connection, or ARC, which is a student-led initiative for students seeking community towards their recovery journey. From game days to paint by number events, these gatherings really provide that comfortable space for students to connect with one another. Unfortunately, last week we had 0 attendees, but we have dramatically increased attendance with 12 attendees this week with students. I've attended both of them. Students are super excited, already talking about telling others. They've learned about these events through the TP and word of mouth. Those are the two main things. So definitely is reaching to these students. Additionally, I just wanted to share that the Ames Little Book of Recovery, which has been a huge initiative through the student government, it's in its final stages of preparation. It's undergoing the finishing edits before printing, but this inspiring compilation of student stories they'll soon be available to the whole Ames community. We have plans to do a launch party, and I really look forward to sharing the details ahead. This is probably one of the bigger projects that I've witnessed being here, so it's super exciting and impactful. Additionally, the team was mentioned in the NOCO Style magazine, and it's about the Ames Little Book of Recovery, specifically Jen York and Danielle Irwin from the Student Life Office. Now, the article did contain some inaccuracies, such as crediting the Ames Little Book of Recovery and the details of their story. But unfortunately, things happen, and we will get it fixed for the Ames community, but it still serves as a wonderful testament for the students at Ames and how much we care about one another. Other than that, we have one big event trying to gather more visibility to our clubs and orgs. So we're calling it the Student Club Fest, and it's going to be each group of clubs and orgs that we have. We're going to have reps from each one to give resources for students to learn and join to sign up right there. And as someone who really knows how impactful it is to get involved on campus, this is really just the perfect opportunity to learn more and get involved. But in closing, I'm really excited to be here, and thank you very much. Do I have any questions?
Any questions from the board?
Well, thank you very much.
Thanks, Jared. Next up, we have our Ames Faculty Association, Ryan Maeda.
Good afternoon, board members, Dr. Bornstein, cabinet members, and guests. And this being my first board meeting since the new trustees have joined. Welcome to Trustee Trustwell and John Hapley. Welcome. Great to see you guys here joining Ames, and we're excited about your guys' leadership as Ames continues to move and make monumental changes into serving our community. Included in this month's packet, you guys received a report highlighting some of the great things that our faculty have been up to. And I really want to emphasize the word some. I never dreamed when I took this position that it'd be so difficult to figure out what the faculty were up to. It's really difficult to get them to brag about themselves. And humility, I think, goes a long way. And I think it's a great thing, except when you're the guy trying to put together the report every month to try to figure out what's going on. So there's some of the highlights of what's going on in the faculty in your guys' packet. Back in August, I had mentioned that my goal for this year was to bring about real stories of our faculty so that you could get to know our faculty a little bit better. This month, I'd like to introduce you to one of our faculty, Dr. Afana Mula Moore. If you're not familiar with the Ames Ripples in Recognition, it's a program that allows faculty, staff, and students to nominate and recognize Ames employees who go above and beyond their jobs. While the Ripples itself are a huge honor, I find it especially an honor on the faculty side when we see the students who take the time and the effort to find the nomination page, which isn't always the easiest, and to actually write out a recognition. So this month, I chose Dr. Moore for this reason. At the end of the fall semester, she didn't only receive 1 or 2 ripples from students, but she received 4 distinct ripples from her students. And that really caught my eye. And so I really wanted to figure out what was going on with this person. So here it is. Dr. Moore, she's our lead faculty for astronomy and physics. She teaches 9 different classes here at Ames. She was born and raised in Ethiopia and came to the US at the age of 19 to attend college in Alabama, studying civil engineering. Throughout her studies, she fell in love with physics and space and changed her major and graduated with a BS in physics. She continued to pursue and earned her master's in space science and a PhD in solar physics. From there, she continued on earning a postdoctoral internship with NASA at the Huntsville, Alabama base, where she had an opportunity to meet and work with some of the brightest in her field. While in college, Dr. Moore met her husband, whose job carried them to Maryland, where they had 2 children, a girl and a boy. But in search of a slower pace of life than in Maryland, they turned their eyes towards the West, and in 2015, they moved to Colorado without a home, in their car, for a job that she was offered, a summer job teaching a summer physics program for our Fort Collins High School. So they spent their first couple of months living in a hotel. But by the end of the summer, Dr. Moore was hired on as an adjunct instructor at Front Range Community College. From there, Fauna found an opportunity to join the team here at Ames as a math and physics tutor, where she faithfully served students for 3 years before a part-time job opened in the sciences. 3 years later, there was an opportunity for her to become a full-time instructor, which she gladly accepted. Dr. Moore is passionate not only about teaching but for many is an extremely difficult series of classes, but she helps students fall in love with them. Her teaching style, as you can see from some of the comments from her students, brings physics and science to life, unlike a lot of people just normally can do. It's a gift that she has. Outside of the classroom, she's passionate about using her influence and connections to fight for students to have opportunities that are often reserved for students coming out of 4-year institutions. Last spring, she had a big win when one of her students that she had fought long and hard for got accepted into CU Boulder's summer research experience for undergrads. He was a first generation student from a community college, which was completely unheard of. One of very, very few that don't come from large universities. So Dr. Moore is she is an exceptionally high quality instructor. She has credentials that would qualify her to be able to teach at many very prestigious large universities. However, her love of students here at Ames and doing research, or her love of students here at Ames and her thirst to give the others the opportunity that were given to her makes her a rich asset to Ames and our students. Dr. Moore believes that much in her life has been brought about by being in the right place at the right time, but I would contest that much of her life has been about her ingenuity, the love of people that have attracted people to her, and opening doors of opportunity. So when she's not teaching, Fauna loves family time, and her family enjoys being in the outdoor, camping, stargazing, and even traveling to get the best views of the solar eclipses. One last bragging point that I want to mention is Dr. Fauna Mulan Moore. She was the 67th Black female to ever have earned the credential of a PhD in solar physics. And here she is at Ames Community College. So Fauna loves her job. She loves her students and the opportunities that are here. And she believes that that's what Ames represents. And we're very, very lucky to have her on our team. And so that is, if you see her around campus, I'm going to try to get better about getting pictures. I'm not the best presenter of PowerPoints and stuff all the time. So I'll be working on getting pictures, or we'll just bring them in from month to month so that you guys can meet these guys in person. So, but yeah, I encourage you just to, just take a double look at our accomplishments that we've been up to, especially that back page, which is our other faculty who have been honored with different ripples from their students as well. So thank you very much. Any questions?
Thanks, Ryan. Any questions?
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Ross Perkins with the Ames Staff Association report.
Good afternoon, everyone. Board, welcome to the new trustees. Chair Schock, welcome. Dr. B, colleagues. It is an honor to be up here. It's my last semester that I'll be coming up here as the ASA president. So I want to take this semester to really celebrate what ASA has been doing and plans to be doing. So we're going to be kind of reporting out on some of those things over the next several months as we kind of go through the spring here. But first, I wanted to give a little introduction to who I am, especially for our two trustees. My name is Ross Perkins. I've served as the ASA president for nearly 2 years now. I've been on ASA for, about 5 or 6 years. So it's been a great pleasure to serve and to be up here to represent ASA and the staff here at Ames and things like that. I am coming today. It's actually today or tomorrow is my 9th anniversary here at Ames, which is amazing. I didn't think I would be here for that long, but it's a great place to work. You see all the wonderful things we're doing, and it's just an incredible place. I currently serve as the director of the Public Safety Institute out at Windsor campus, which is an incredible place to be. As you heard from Jared, the haircut was awesome, and I hung out for a couple hours just to chat with some of the students, and it was just a lot of fun and things like that. And so I appreciate everything that everybody's doing here. So ASA has been focused on a couple of things this year. This comes from a comment that Dr. B made probably a year or so ago now about how does ASA support student success. And so that's been sort of the foundation of all our ASA meetings that we have once a month, is really learning about how as staff members, we can support students beyond what we do in our jobs. So we've had a lot of guest speakers from the college to come into our ASA meetings to really talk about what they do and how we can get students, if they come to us, to those services and things. Trio, the pantry, the learning commons, facilities, things like that. And so we are going to be continuing that this semester. So that's been a great opportunity. The second kind of component of what we've been focusing on is our volunteer activities. We really feel that in the ASA that the volunteering for different events and different opportunities is really a key part of what we want to be, our kind of identity, if you will. So we have been working with Will County United Way to do some volunteering with them, and also Will County Food Bank. So we have a volunteer opportunity coming up, I believe, on March 22nd from 1 to 4. You can go to the ASA webpage and sign up if you like. So we still got a few months, but sign up because it is limited numbers to do it. So I think there's 20, maybe 30, somewhere there, something like that. The other thing that we'll be working on this semester, and this is something that we're super excited about, is through ASA, we have a couple of different scholarship opportunities for not only our students, but also for our staff's children. So our ASA scholarship really helps pay for books. We select a couple of students every year, and we give them money to help pay for their textbooks and things. And so that's always a great opportunity. Earlier this year, I read a letter that indicated that. The second one, which I think is a great opportunity, and I want to thank Kelly Jackson for help leading this, is our College for Kids scholarship. This historically has been a scholarship for Ames staff kids to come and join the College for Kids activities during the summer. We are looking to expand that beyond just the staff kids and really hopefully create some opportunities beyond that. So we're having some conversations in ASA of how we may be able to support some students, some kids outside of Ames that had needs to come and kind of get them into the Ames family, if you will. So I'm super excited about that opportunity. The other, as I mentioned, we have the Will County Food Bank coming up on March 22nd. We are working with AFA and also working with the wellness team to hopefully have a surprise event later on this spring. So I don't want to spill the beans because we're still working through some of that, but I want to put that out there. As Ames grows, it's just not Greeley, Windsor, Loveland, Fort Lupton, but you have the Early College Academy, you have the Flight Center. So to include and be inclusive to that, we have to really kind of plan those things out so that everybody has those opportunities and things like that. So taking a little bit longer than I had anticipated, but we're almost there. And then finally, as I always say in these meetings, is if you notice the Ripple packet, which quite large this month, one of the things as I read through this Ripples, as Ryan mentioned, is just the incredible things that folks are doing around Ames. But if you read it through the lens of the impact of students, it's amazing. Almost every single one of these Ripples is around the impact that Ames community is having on students as they continue their journey. And so I just love reading this. And I encourage not only everybody at Ames to read these, but to put a ripple in and see what your colleagues are doing. That's all I have for today. Short and sweet. Thank you and welcome again to the new trustees. I look forward to getting to know you and telling our story. Any questions?
Thanks, Ross. Any questions?
All right. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Have a great day.
Always great to have the updates. Upcoming in the agenda are action items. And so we will start with the first action item of fiscal year 2024 and 25 proposed tuition rates. Chuck Jensen, our Vice President of Administrative Services, will walk us through this one.
Thank you, Chair Schock, members of the board, Dr. Bornstein. You have before you action item 7A, fiscal year 24-25 proposed tuition rates. As presented at the December work session, there's been no changes in the proposed tuition rates. And as a few highlights of we're continuing on our long-term strategy of gradually increasing our tuition, again, to reduce our risk within our revenue streams, distributes our growth evenly across the years, and it provides, most importantly, predictability for students. At the November 14th, 2023 meeting, the Student Government Association voted to support this proposed tuition increases, and that support continues. This will generate approximately $725,000 in additional revenue for the next fiscal year. And the administrative recommendation is to approve the proposed rates for 24-25 as listed on behind the action. I stand for questions, Madam Chair.
Great, thank you. Any questions or discussion? If not, I would look for a motion to approve.
I would move for, excuse me, approval of the tuition rate increases as proposed.
Thank you. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, thank you. And we'll move on to the next action items, Chuck, which is fiscal year 2024-25 proposed student fee.
Chair Schock, members of the board, Dr. Bornstein, yes. The proposed student fee, singular increase for next year. This is the student government fee, and it will be recommended to increase $2. Again, this is, we're experiencing continued growth in our student programming, our student leadership, and our student life office, and all concerned continue to do an outstanding job of delivering ever increasing student activities across all of our campuses and locations. And so again, this is in support of that. Again, at their meeting in November, student government endorsed this, and their endorsement continues in support of this fee. And so the administrative recommendation is to approve the proposed student fee increase for fiscal year 24-25. Chair Schock, I stand for questions.
Any questions? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve item 7B as presented.
Madam Chairman, I recommend that we approve the new student fees.
Thank you.
And I second that.
Thank you, Trustee Wendell. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Great, thank you. Congratulations. Thanks for all your work and your team's work on putting forward the detail and walking us through the process.
Absolutely.
Thank
Thank you.
Okay, next up, we have item 7C, As we heard this morning, the new acute care nurse aide certificate, Dr. David Ayler will present that for us.
Thank you, Chair Schock, board members, Dr. Bornstein, colleagues, and guests. I'm presenting today the new acute care nurse aide certification. To become a certified nurse aide, the student must complete a nurse aide course, including theory, lab, and clinicals. The course objectives are dictated by the State Board of Nursing and by law, focus on care for residents of long-term care facilities. For this reason, all students completing the nurse aide certificate at Ames attend clinicals at long-term care facilities. However, the Nurse Aide MedPrep CTE Advisory Committee and local healthcare partners recognize the need for certified nurse aides in all areas of healthcare, not just long-term care. These partners have encouraged the addition of this certificate program to prepare Ames graduates with advanced CNA skills to work successfully in acute care settings and fill this community need. Nurse aide graduates interested in working in an acute care setting may take the Acute Care Nurse Aide Certificate Program to prepare them with the advanced skills needed to work in acute care. The administrative recommendation is to approve the Acute Care Nurse Aide Certificate to start fall 2024.
Thank you. Any further questions or discussion? Trustee Hafley.
I appreciate this and I wholeheartedly support it. Again, I just want to reiterate that I know we have no control over who comes to us, but I hope that we do our best to recruit similar demographics to what we have on campus with Pell, First Gen, as well as color demographics, please.
Thank you. We will do our best to do that.
Any further comments or questions? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve 7C for the new acute care nurse aide certificate.
I move that we approve this new program. This
Thank
new
you.
certificate.
Thank you. Could I have a second?
I second it.
Thank you, Trustee O'Hare. All those in favor say aye. Okay, congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our next action item is 7D, location of public board meeting notices. Jerry Harvey, our board liaison, will present.
Thank you, Chair Schock. Colorado revised statute requires that the board set these posting locations annually at their first meeting of the year. And so it is staff's recommendation that the board set the Board of Trustees website as the standard public location for postings related to the Board of Trustees, and as an emergency backup, a physical location at the President's office in Ed Beatty Hall. In your packet, that web address as well as the physical address of those two locations are listed, and staff's recommendation is you set those as presented in the packet.
Thank you, Jerry. Any questions or discussion? If not, I'd entertain a motion for 7D, location of public board notice, meeting notices.
I approve 7D as written.
Okay, could I have a second?
I second that.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, 7E is revised procedure 22-01, policy adoption, amendment, and repeal. Dr. Bornstein, our college CEO and president, will present.
So you'll probably have a bit of a chuckle, but in higher ed institutions, we have a policy on policies and we have a policy on procedures and we have a procedure on policies and we have a procedure on procedures. So in reviewing these policies and procedures, it was determined that the procedure process for adopting, amending, and repealing policies could be made more efficient and a little bit clearer. The recommendation revisions to this procedure shown in the red line attachment and will accomplish that efficiency and mirror the companion procedure of 22-02, which is the procedure adoption, amendment, and repeal. The administrative recommendation is to approve the revisions to procedure 22-01, policy adoption, amendment, and repeal as presented.
There's further discussion or questions. Trustee Wendell?
Very keen eyes here, for you all, but can you provide an example of a non-substantive change? Can you pronounce it? Substant.
Yes, so if there is a change to a title or a title change of a person that there might be listed. If we need to change a date, if those are non-substantive changes. We actually, the board actually approved one last year. It was the meeting of the president's procedure, and a new group was formed at the college, the administrative group, AGG. Ames Administrative Group, sorry, AAG. And the board approved that basically for parity, because we have ASA, AFA, SGA, and then this administrative group is coming in. So for parity, you approved adding Ames Administrators Group to that. That's a non-substantive change because you're doing it for parity. There's not a change of intent. There's not a substantive content change to the direction of a policy or procedure.
Great, thank you. Any other questions, discussion? If not, I'd entertain a motion for 7E, revised procedure 22-01.
I so approve 7E.
Thank you, trustee Wendell.
Second.
Thank you, trustee Trustwell. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. 7F. Here we go again.
Here we go again. So this is the procedure piece, and I won't go back into all that to policy procedure. So after review of procedure 22-02, it was determined that one revision is necessary to ensure that this procedure matches its companion procedure of 22-01, policy adoption, amendment, and repeal. So the administrative recommendation is to approve the revisions to procedure 22-02, procedure adoption, amendment, and repeal as presented.
Any questions or discussion? Are you sure? I like the grin. If not, I would entertain a motion to approve 7F, revised procedure 22-02.
I make a motion to approve the procedure as explained.
Thank you, trustee O'Hare.
I second.
Thank you, trustee Trustwell. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. And 7G, this is revised policy 70, delegation of authority to the college CEO and president. Again, Dr. Bornstein.
Okay. So I'm going to tell a funny story. As trustee Trustwell and I were having our one-on-one during our orientation and onboarding, she said, "Isn't it the president's and CEO's responsibility to be in charge of strategic planning?" And I said, "Of course it is." And when we look at policy 70, which is the CEO president's basically job description, it's not listed. So in review of this policy, and we determined that we would like to add that to that policy since it is a substantial part of what the CEO president is responsible for. So thank you, trustee Trustwell, for noticing that glaringly obvious omission. It's the administrative recommendation to approve the revision to policy 70, delegation of authority to the college CEO president as presented.
Any further questions or discussion?
And I would like to move that we approve this addition to the policy.
Thank you. Could I have a second?
I second that.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye. And the ayes have it. Okay. As we move out of our action items into our information items, we have our events calendar and upcoming work session. Jerry Harvey will present.
Thank you, Chair Schock. I'll briefly go over the upcoming events calendar. You'll see there the Greeley Area Chamber annual dinner. We have trustees O'Hara and Trustwell attending that event. And for the Southeast Weld County Chamber annual banquet, trustee Wendell will be attending that. You'll notice that the rest of the events really listed there are upcoming meetings, just for your information to note those. You will notice one thing, and I'll note it here. Typically in March, the board meeting is held at the Fort Lupton campus. This year, we're swapping that. So the March meeting will be here on the Greeley campus in this room, and the April meeting will be at the Fort Lupton campus. This is because of the presidential primary. They're using that room for a polling location, so we can't double book it. So we have flipped that. So you might note that in your calendars. And next, I will go briefly over next month's the March board meeting list of events and agenda items, compensation and benefits plan and summary options from D. Schultz. That'll be presented during work session, and the foundation update from our foundation board liaison, Trustee Hafley. That will be at that meeting as well.
Great. Thank you, Jerry. Any questions? If not, we will move on to item 8B, distinguished fellow nominations deadline and selection of board trustee representative to the distinguished fellow committee. Jerry?
Thank you, Chair Schock. I'll give a brief summary of that process and what that looks like, especially for our two new trustees. The Distinguished Fellow Award is an award, it's awarded every year by the Board of Trustees to an individual within the community who exemplifies extraordinary commitment and allegiance to Ames and its values. This individual is chosen first by a committee of folks on the Ames campus. That committee makes a recommendation to the Board of Trustees, and the board votes at their April meeting to select an individual to receive that award. So part of the board's responsibility in this is at this meeting to select a volunteer from the board to serve as the chair of this committee, the selection committee. So I would ask the board to select a volunteer, and then I will begin scheduling that committee meeting for selection of the recipient.
Thank you. This is always a fun recognition. Is there anybody that would like to volunteer to be our board representative?
I'm willing to volunteer for that.
Okay, great. Do we need to take a vote for that?
No, that's perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. You'll have fun with that one. Next up is our June board retreat topics, and just really looking to see if there's anything that the board has that we would like our team, our staff, also to look at bringing forward during our June retreat.
Great. Oh, sorry. I was finishing taking notes there. So yes, if there are any items of discussion since the January retreat that you might have thought of that would be helpful to discuss during the June retreat, this would be a great time. This is not the only time you can present those. Feel free, if you think of any between now and then, to present them to myself, to Dr. Bornstein, or Chair Schock. And we'll be able to possibly add those, and certainly happy to answer any questions now as well.
I believe the dates are June 11th and 12th.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes,
okay. Trustee Wendell.
I always think it's good to do more team building. So, and plus, I'd like to get to know our new trustees even more. They're wonderful, but
great idea. Thank you. Any other suggestions? Okay. As Jerry reported, we have some time to continue to work on what that retreat will frame up to be. So more to come. We'll move into our CEO and President's report with Dr. Bornstein.
Thank you, Chair Schock. As you can see in your packets, there are highlights from various divisions. So if you have any questions for our cabinet team who are sitting in front of you, behind me, now would be that time. There are no monitoring reports this month. I do want to just give you a quick update on our strategic plan progress. So let me just pause here to see if there are any questions on the highlights for our cabinet members.
Any questions or discussion?
Okay.
Great.
So on page 90 and 91 of your diligent book, you'll see hopefully what looks like a very common Gantt chart and flow chart that you've seen many, many times before. The Gantt chart there that's on page 90 is what we've been using as target dates for each step of our process, which is in the column on the left-hand side. We are on track. We're looking to have a really rough draft of our entire tactical plan by right before spring break that we'll put together and that we will then vet internally. And we are again on target to bring that entire strategic and tactical plan to the board during your May meeting. What you will also see at your place is a card that really you're the first ones to see. The folks behind us will get all of this on Friday at Conversation Day. But this is a piece that our marketing communication team put together for us to keep at our desks, in our offices, in our conference rooms, to remind us as we move into our next 3-year strategic plan, what our new purpose and mission and vision is that you all acted on in January, created and acted on. What our 2 strategies are, which you acted on in August. Our objectives that are part of what the college process is. And then again, as we continue to move forward with the initiative. So if you move to page 91 of your board book, again, you'll see that framework template or flow chart. The black boxes on the left are the purview of the board. The blue boxes in the middle are what the college and the board does together. And the black boxes on the right are the purview of the college. So that's what we are working on right now, are the tactics, key measures, etc. It's a very brief update, but we're moving.
It's great to see it in writing and starting to come together. Any questions or discussion? Okay. Thank you.
My apologies. There's also an employee report on page 98, and this is the time of the meeting where we invite supervisors in the audience with new employees that they would like to introduce to us. So again, my apologies, everyone. I'm glad Jerry reminded me. If you'll all just sort of line up by the flags, and we can move through efficiently.
Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Nick Spezza, the Associate Vice President of Academic Affairs, Chair Shaw, board members, colleagues. I'm very pleased to introduce Dina McBain, who brings a wealth of experience in higher ed, K-12, and has been in Greeley for about 20 years as our staff executive for my division. Welcome, Dina.
No one else? Okay. Thank you, Chair Schock. That concludes the president's report.
Thank you. We all appreciate Jerry. Yeah. Our next item is reflections and comments from the board about AIMS. We discussed it a little bit in our retreat, but we have 2 items on the agenda, both 10 and 11, and 10 is truly around, do you have any comments regarding AIMS? And then also looking if there's future topics. So first off, are there any comments regarding AIMS today? Trustee Wendell.
I'd just like to thank the college for thinking forward, and I guess it was thought of in 2019. The health student health center makes a lot of sense. I have other questions for it, but what a great insight. And I'd like to thank the Jared. I don't have the phone number, or not the phone number, but the package. I'd like to thank the student service and then the faculty and the staff representative. I can't see the names and I don't have them written down in front of me. But you always do a nice job. It's nice to hear what the faculty's doing, staff's doing, and the students. You guys are doing a great job building community for everyone. And I'm really excited about the nurse, the new nurses acute program. I just think it's another extra additional qualification that students, the CNGAs can take and do a lot of work. And it's good for the community. So once again, Ames is just doing a great job and it's a good asset for the whole Northern Colorado. So thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Wendell. Trustee Trustwell?
Yeah, I just want to, as someone that's new, I've got still a lot to learn, but I am just in awe and terribly impressed with the amount of time, information, thought, kind of running things by so many different groups that go into like the decisions that we made today related to the tuition increase, the student fee increase, and the acute nursing program. Very impressive. And I know that's a lot of work on the part of the people that are here, many here today. And I just want to thank you. It's just, quite evident that everything is done with great thought, and debate, I'm sure. And it just, was very assuring for someone that's lived in this community for so long.
Great, thank you. Trustee Haefele?
Some people are unsung heroes, and Mr. Harvey is one of those. He has done a great job of helping Trustee Trustful and I become understanding and being onboarded. And that goes to everybody else in the room. Every place we've gone, everybody's extended their hands and say, we welcome you, and whatever you need from us, please let us know. And we're very, very appreciative of that. And one of the things that I've noticed since I've been here is that I now have more information to share with the community, and it's gone from a little bit to quite a bit. And they asked me that our elevator's not that long, so please be quiet. And consequently, I do appreciate everything that you all have done for us, and we look forward to working with all of you. And again, Mr. Harvey, thank you for your efforts on our behalf.
Thank you for those comments. Okay, I would just add, and again, as we close on the tuition and the fees, and I would echo engaging all of the stakeholders, and really the driver behind that when I think about the student groups and staff and faculty, of really engaging to say, how do we make sure that Ames continues to be as strong into the future? And so, and then I would say, Chuck, as you continue to present and bring things forward to us, it's nice to have them in terms. The finances for Ames are challenging. And I think you and your team do a great job bringing that forward. So it's been another, I think, very strong day. So thank you. Okay. On to number 11, assessment of the board meeting, any plus delta. If there's any other items within that, and I don't need to go through all of them, they're in your packet, but to hit a couple of them, what worked, what didn't work, as a new board chair and moving through processes and getting used to kind of processes. I always say thank you for your patience. But outside that, did the board speak with one voice? Is there any other items that we need to move through?
Let me just make a quick comment on how much I appreciate the approach that we use to budgeting here, where it doesn't get thrown at us and we've got 10, 30, 45 minutes to think about it. It really makes it so much easier to hear it over a series of meetings. And quite frankly, I'm really impressed with how finance has introduced the idea of increasing fees and tuition, because we were so proud for so many years that we didn't increase tuition and fees. But this has made it pretty painless to assure that we maintain our strong financial position. So I'm just pleased that you've taken the process of educating us on budgetary changes over a series of meetings.
Thank you for those comments. Any other comments? Okay. With that, we will, as allowed by CRS 24-6-402 4A, the board will adjourn into executive session to discuss issues related to real estate. Please note that the board will adjourn into executive session and it may return to take action. Could I have a motion to move into executive session?
I make a motion that we move into executive session.
Thank you.
I second that.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. As we have adjourned out of our executive session and back into our regular board meeting continuation, I will call the meeting to order. And first item will be to introduce Chuck Jensen for our next action.
Thank you, Chair Schock, members of the board, Dr. Bornstein. You have before you action item 8A. This is the resolution to authorize a negotiation and purchase of certain real estate. The purchase of this real estate will support the airframe and power plant program, also referred to as an aircraft mechanic technician school and associated aircraft maintenance training center. The hangar facility is located at 5833 Langley Avenue, Loveland, Colorado. Purchase includes the facility and the land. Fiscal impact is dependent upon final negotiations as stated in the resolution. It is the administrative recommendation to ask the board to approve the resolution to negotiate and purchase the real estate as identified as aircraft hangar facility located at 58 Avenue, Loveland, Colorado. Chair Shaw.
Thank you. Are there any further discussion or questions? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve board action item 8A or 13A.
I make a motion that the Ames Board of Trustees approve action item 13A.
8A.
It's 13.
It's 13A.
13, yes.
13A.
I second that motion.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, unanimous approval. Thank you. With that, there is no further business or actions to be taken today. I would ask for a motion to adjourn our meeting.
I move that we adjourn.
Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, meeting adjourned at 3:42.